Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and if you're looking for the latest Raiders news and rumors, well, you are in luck because you're watching the #1 Raiders channel here on YouTube, the Oakland Raiders Report. Now, I got a whole bunch of DMs, so I'm going to start this show off with an early question for the entire nation to answer. Should the Raiders trade for Jadeveon Clowney? I want you to type T for trade or type L for leave the dude alone. So, should the Raiders trade for Jadeveon Clowney? Type T for trade or type L for leave alone if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook. Now, why did I get so many DMs about Jadeveon Clowney? Well, no long-term contract. Jadeveon is hoping to work out a long-term extension with the Houston Texans prior to next week's deadline rather than having to play the 2019 season under the franchise tag. But he is not going to extreme measures in an attempt to get a new deal done. Unless something drastic changes, Clowney and the Texans are not expected to agree to a long-term deal by July 15th, which is the deadline for franchise tag players to sign contracts. He will likely skip training camp after that, but Aaron Wilson of the Houston Chronicle reports that Clowney is not going to miss regular season games. Now, when I look at the last 4 seasons of a player like Jadeveon Clowney, let's not forget that this guy was a first overall pick at one point. Now, sure, these numbers are productive, but actually, I think when I look at Jadeveon Clowney's actual skill set, the fact that this dude's never had a 10-sack season is one of the reasons why I don't know if I'm necessarily sold on going out and getting Clowney, because there's always been that one rumor that he's got every tool in the tool bag. But if you don't really use your tools, or you don't really try to sharpen them, are you actually putting in the work? So, I have a question for everybody who is watching. What is Clowney's overall rating? We're going to have some fun here. We are the most interactive YouTube channel here for Raiders content, and that's why I'm asking. Scale 1 to 100. 0 is this dude is just terrible, and 100 is he's literally like the greatest player of all time. So what is Clowney's overall rating? Let's play a little bit of Madden here. Scale 0 to 100. Now the next question I'm bringing up here, is Clowney actually a good fit with the Oakland Raiders? Since there is that report that he's not going to miss regular season games, I do kind of like that, right? I mean, we just saw Le'Veon Bell miss the entire year. We also just, it came out that Melvin Gordon could potentially miss this entire season because he could sit out. Now, we know that defensive end is, I still think, the biggest need for the Oakland Raiders. And yeah, I understand that it says he's a linebacker for the Texans, and I've had people be like, Mitch, he's a linebacker. Well, no, he would play defensive end with the Oakland Raiders. That's our style of defense. It's a 4-3. Jadeveon Clowney, I'm telling you right now, would play defensive end. So I talked about Jadeveon Clowney potentially being a trade partner all offseason. So I threw together this little possible Clowney trade about a month ago. The Texans would receive a first-round pick in 2020 and Arden Key. And then we would get Jadeveon Clowney outside linebacker. But like I said, he would play defensive end. Now, if you would insert Jadeveon Clowney onto the Oakland Raiders, this is what the depth chart would look like. This is really entertaining to me. Max Crosby has been balling out all offseason. And sure, we still need some extra depth there at defensive end. But Jadeveon Clowney, Cleveland Ferrell, Johnathan Hankins, and HURST, that's a very, very entertaining front because you have the player like Clowney who's got extreme upside. And then you have a player like Cleveland Ferrell who I don't know is ever going to have the upside that Clowney has, but I know Cleveland Ferrell's at least going to bring it every single game. Now, why are all we talking about all offseason is getting pass rushers? Right here. Here you go. Ouch. It stings. It really stings. 32. We rank dead last in the NFL in sacks with only 13. Then the Giants and the Patriots, 30. I mean, I guess you could say the Patriots are on this list and they won the Super Bowl, right? Then you have the Dolphins and the Bengals, 31 and 34. There was like 5 players last year that had more sacks than the entire Raiders team. Khalil Mack, this is going to sting, 12.5 sacks last year. The Oakland Raiders need to be able to get after the quarterback in today's pass-happy league. You need to be able to get after Patrick Mahomes. You need to be able to get after Phillip Rivers. Jadeveon Clowney, I do think he would help the Raiders ultimately do it. So, a lot of Jadeveon Clowney on today's show. Would Clowney be a good fit with the Oakland Raiders? I want you to type 4 for believe it, baby. Or type O or 0 for tuck rule. Tuck that, I promise. I know my own scale. Would Clowney be a good fit for the Oakland Raiders? Type 4 for believe it, baby. Or type 0 for tuck rule. Tuck that. Now, how much money would Jadeveon Clowney get? Would we have to pay him $100 million. Well, just pump the brakes there, okay? Clowney wants to get paid. $15.9 million is not good enough for him right now. Now, there were a lot of talented free agents this year, and a lot of them got paid big-time money. Before free agency, Jadeveon Clowney was projected to get 6 years, $100 million. I don't see that happening now because, look, players like Demarcus Lawrence, Frank Clark, Dee Ford, they all got 5-year deals. Now, Lawrence is making $21 million a year. Frank Clark's making $20.8. Trey Flowers, $18 million, some expensive flowers. And then Dee Ford's making $17.1 million. So what exactly could Jadeveon Clowney expect to get, or what would the Raiders potentially have to give him? This is what we threw together here at Chat Sports. I want to give a shout out to Tom for crunching some of these numbers because you guys know I'm not that good at math. So 5 years, $90 million. Guaranteed, we're thinking around $40 million guaranteed, and then guess what? 90 divided by 5. I found out it's 18 per year. Shout out, Tom. So Jadeveon Clowney, this is the projected contract details that I think if the Raiders ultimately do want to go out and get Clowney, this is what you're going to have to pay him. So think about that, okay? Because a lot of times I think we think of making trades and doing all these moves kind of based on Madden. Like, oh, yeah, let's put this guy over here. Well, you got to also pay him. Are we going to have enough money to pay Jadeveon Clowney? Is he going to be a good fit with this defense ultimately? So think about everything that I said around Jadeveon Clowney. And then now answer this question for me. Do you want Clowney to be a Raider? Type Y for yes. Type N for no. The most interactive show around the Oakland Raiders is here. YouTube.com/Raiders Report. So make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you turn on those notifications. Come join the chat. We're having a good time. So I'll ask everybody one more time. Do you want Clowney to be a Raider? Type Y for yes. Type N for no. And if you want to know what I think, slide in my DMs at Mitchell Renz 365. And if you slide in my DMs, also I want to get you set up with our sports partner, MyBookie. Use my promo code GORAIDERS for 100% deposit bonus. Chatsports.com/Raiders. Do you like the Raiders? I think so. Do you like the NFL? I also think so. Do you like free money? God, I hope so. MyBookie's hooking us up with all this awesome stuff. So use my promo code GORAIDERS, 100% deposit bonus. Let's get into some more rumors here. We're going to get some Chucky heads coming out. Trayvon Mullen, could he start in 2019? I'm going to give this one 2 Chucky heads, and I think people are talking, and I'm really excited about Trayvon Mullen because I started watching a little bit more tape, and I've also said that I don't know if Trey Mullen is ever going to be this, like, all-pro type of player, but I think he's at least going to be a reliable starter for the Raiders, you know, in the future. One thing that I absolutely love is, sure, he's been putting in work, he's been pressing all offseason. It's also the offseason, and this is kind of hype time. But the amount of reports are that they're out there that he's working with Antonio Brown is one thing. But the fact that I'm hearing that he's matching up well with Antonio Brown from people that I trust, I respect that. And the fact that this kid is a rookie stepping on in and wants to go up against this guy, Antonio Brown, like, he's one of the best receivers in the game. And if every single day you're going up against that, you're going up against that kind of production, that's going to make other receivers not look as well or not look as good. Antonio Brown's put up 6 straight years of over 1,000 yards. They call him Mr. Big Chest Region. And Trayvon Mullen, my man, I'm clapping my hands, and I am very, very happy that you're putting in this kind of extra work because also I know Antonio Brown is one of the hardest working dudes in the entire league. So Trayvon Mullen could start in 2019. That's the rumor. I gave it 2 Chucky heads. How many games do you think he's going to start in 2019? 1? 2? Could he start all 16? If you don't think he's going to start at all, type 0. It's a cool thing you can do. How many games will Mullen start in 2019? Next rumor. Are the Raiders going to add a veteran tight end? I saw this one. I'm going to give this one only 1 Chucky head, and I just think this one is a small shred of truth. Now, do I think that they should add a tight end? That's different. Are they actually going to add a tight end? That's a different story. So, we know that the starting tight end right now for the Oakland Raiders is Darren Waller. But Bleacher Report, they threw together an article, 1 move every NFL team must do before the season starts. They came out and said that the Raiders have a thin tight end depth chart, which I kind of agree. They also said that a lot of the Raiders tight ends are unproven, which again, I agree. I mean, we have Luke Wilson, 2 L's, can't really trust Luke Wilson with 2 L's. Foster Moreau is our tight end 3 who we drafted this year. Sure, you go out and sign Eric Swoop, there it is. And I think Derek Carrier is a likely candidate to get cut. But the main reason why I do not think that the Raiders are going to go out and get a veteran tight end is because they really do trust Darren Waller. Also, the tight ends that Bleacher Report recommended, I mean, Dion Sims, Antonio Gates, I could beat in a foot race, and then Lance Kendricks. If these are the 3 veterans we're going to get, I'm good. Like, I'm okay. I mean, if you're telling me, I get to get Dion Sims, who had a total of 2 catches for 9 yards last year, yeah, let's add some more unproven players. Sure, he was playing behind Trey Burton with the Bears, but this isn't the player that I want to go out and get. You want to go out and get Antonio Gates. He's no doubt a Hall of Famer, but we can all agree that Antonio Gates has definitely fallen off, and Phillip Rivers loves himself a tight end. Lance Kendricks, 19 catches last year, 170 yards. I like Derek Carr, but Aaron Rodgers is better. You're telling me Lance Kendricks is putting up these numbers with Aaron Rodgers, and Jimmy Graham is super washed up after that Achilles injury. I'm good on those 3 options. So maybe we could add a different tight end or trade for another tight end. Then I would at least say people are talking. But if those are your 3 options that you're giving me, Bleacher Report, no. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right, let's get a question up here. I'm getting flustered. Should the Raiders sign a veteran tight end? Thumbs up for yes or thumbs down for no. Can you use your emojis? Recently, my dad has sent me 10 text messages. I'm going to say 7 out of the last 10 messages I've gotten from my father are all thumbs up. So should the Raiders sign a veteran tight end? Thumbs up for yes or thumbs down for no. I'm giving Raider Nation 2 thumbs up, and make sure you guys subscribe. YouTube.com/Raiders Report, the #1 Raiders channel here on YouTube. You like news, rumors, we're giving it to you all, and make sure you become part of that Noti gang. Turn on those notifications so you know exactly when I go live. Now, I say all the time that we are the most interactive YouTube channel for Raiders content. That one's for Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And I'm asking everybody, how many receiving yards for Antonio Brown this season? So yesterday I posted on our community because happy birthday, Antonio Brown, turning 31. Hopefully I look as good as you at 31. And I asked everyone, how many receiving yards for AB this season? So these are some of the comments that I got. And just so you know that you guys have high hopes for Antonio Brown. So thinking he gets over 1,450 yards, he's on a mission, in my opinion. Okay, Mike Riley saying he's going to break Tim Brown's record of 1408. Daisy Rodriguez, what's up, girl? 1,480 and 12 touchdowns. Okay, high hopes there for Daisy. Ted Eason, I've never seen this picture, but I love this picture. 1,500 yards. Hard work pays off. Happy birthday, AB. And then this last name, McGillicuddy. Did I get that right? McGillicuddy, 6979. Happy birthday, Mr. Big Chest. It's not my birthday. Tear it up this year. 1,400 plus yards and 14 touchdowns. Y'all have high hopes for Antonio Brown. All right, last rumor on today's show. Justin Ellis. He's going to be the starter for the Oakland Raiders. I'm going to give this one Chucky Head, and I think it's a small shred of truth. And the only way that Justin Ellis is a starter, in my opinion, is if something happens to either Mo Hurst or if something happens to Johnathan Hankins. That's really the only way that I see that this happening. So he started only 1 game last season. Sure, that's 6 games that he played. He kind of got banged up, but only 1 game last season. I think Johnathan Hankins is the reason why he's not going to start. I mean, they went out and they gave Hankins a 2-year deal this offseason. Plus, P.J. Hall has actually been, okay here and there. So, Justin Ellis, Johnathan Hankins, P.J. Hall, and then Eddie. Who's going to start next to Mo Hurst? Because I don't think it's going to be Justin Ellis. I would put my money on Hankins. And this is the numbers that Justin Ellis was able to throw together last year. Is that the guy you want starting? I mean, 7 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss in 6 games. Sure, he started only 1 game. Then you have Johnathan Hankins. 36 tackles, 4 tackles for a loss, 2 quarterback hits, 0 sacks. P.J. Hall entering year 2. Super raw, super athletic. What can we get out of him? 22 tackles, maybe can turn some of those QB hits into some sacks. Then you have Eddie. Poor Eddie missed all of last year. And in 2017, he did play in 16 games. 18 tackles, 0 sacks, and 0 forced fumbles. So, you guys know this show isn't about me. It's about the entire nation. I gave you those 4 players. Who's going to start next to Mo Hurst? I put my money down on Johnathan Hankins. I don't care what other people are saying with Ellis. That one doesn't make too much sense to me. So who's going to start next to Mo Hurst, I want you to comment below on the most interactive Raiders channel here on YouTube, youtube.com/Raiders Report. Speaking of being interactive, make sure you guys subscribe. Click the big red button below, and make sure you turn on those notifications so you know exactly when I go live. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching.